Previously on the GameCritics.com podcast.
That's the thing about the Wii, the developers don't seem to be getting better at making Wii games.
Because the thing's goddamn so fucking hamstrung, man. There's nothing to even work with.
It's like just working on the GameCube with a motion controller.
This seems to be getting worse.
Dead Rising on the Wii. If the graphics are awful, they can't get more than like 5 or 7 zombies on screen at one time.
Metroid, I think it looks horrible. I think it screams failure, and I will predict right now this game never comes out.
People who buy the Wii, and the reason the Wii is in the lead right now, is because it's so fucking casual. It's not even marketed as a fucking video game console.
The most important technological innovation of our time, the Wii Vitality Sensor. I saw the slide of the guy with his finger in the thing. This is not a good idea.
People do the motherfucking bowling. It's a novelty. Don't be telling me that, oh yeah, there's enough games for hardcore and the Wii's a real system, because the fuck hell it is, dude. It's not. I don't think any real gamer is content with the Wii in any way, shape, or form.
PDC World Championship darts.
Cat Fancy Adventures.
Imagine Fashion Party.
Bob Ross, The Joy of Painting.
Grey's Anatomy, the video game.
James Patterson's fucking Women's Mystery Club.
Actually, who is their core audience? Because it's certainly not us anymore. They don't really give a rip about the people who put them there in the first place.
What the fuck is wrong with them?
The evidence is quite compelling. In our own words, we seem to be cranky, angry, bitter old men who despise everything video games have become, particularly if that video game is branded with the Nintendo logo. Welcome, everyone, to episode 18 of the GameCritics.com podcast. I'm Tim Spaeth, and we've affectionately named this episode We Hate Nintendo. That's we spelled W-I-I. And you could also call it Game Critics on Trial. Before we reveal our crime, let's introduce the accused. Say hello to Chi-Kong Liu.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Brad Gallaway.
Hey, guys.
And Mike Bracken.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. Welcome, all of you. Are you nervous? We're on trial, folks.
I am petrified.
Yeah. I can hear it in your voice. What is our crime?
Quaking.
Yeah. Well, our crime. Many of you in our audience, our faithful listeners, have accused us of rampant, unbridled negativity toward Nintendo, toward motion control, toward casual games, that we've somehow lost touch with our hobby and are unwilling to accept anything outside of our, quote, traditional hardcore games, that we are somehow rejecting innovation. And honestly, is this a fair trial, given that we're going to be acting as our own judge, jury, and executioner? Probably not, but we will be using your comments, our listeners' comments and emails, as the foundation of our discussion this week. And in the end, we'll decide if we are indeed close-minded and unfair, or we may just say that it's our own damn podcast and we can say whatever the hell we want. We'll see how it comes down. So, gentlemen, I ask you, free your minds. Unlearn what you have learned. Undo your pants. Try to see things from perspectives that are not our own. Can you do that?
No, I don't think so.
No.
If you want that, you should probably go to a different podcast.
Yeah. There's another podcast starting at 11. Maybe you can hit on that one. All right. Fantastic. So here's what we're going to do. I have a collection of quotes and comments from basically across all the 17 episodes that we've ever recorded, and we're going to read some of them, and then we'll see if they have valid points, or we'll counter them with our own. So this first comment comes from Vince, who is a frequent contributor to the podcast. We love Vince, always has great, insightful things to say, and he was specifically commenting on our E3 episode. And, I'll just read the quote here. He says, quote, "It seemed most of you were more than happy with harping on Nintendo for spitting out sequels while gushing over sequels coming out on other platforms. But I don't blame you, only because I believe you don't see it the way I do. You seem to have eternal hope that these high-def games are going to finally deliver some brand new gameplay because they just look so damn cool. Meanwhile, Nintendo's titles lack the gleam of HD, so right off the mark, they get a point taken away. End quote.
Wow. As usual, Vince brings us an interesting perspective. That's why I like the fact that we have Vince around, because, to be honest, he keeps me honest. So he's one of those rare game critics readers who actually comments on a lot of things and basically calls me out if I'm out of line. So thanks, Vince, for taking the time to write in. As far as your comment goes, I think the idea that we're hoping for high-def games to come along and deliver brand new gameplay is sort of off the mark. I can only speak for me and the things I've said and thought about Nintendo over the time we've been talking about them. So I don't know, maybe Chi and Brad will feel differently, but my problems with the Wii aren't so much that it's not high-def and the games are not as pretty looking as they are on the other two consoles. And in fact, I think it's the elephant in the room that the Wii games are not pretty, and I don't think we're particularly graphic whore guys. We've never, to my knowledge, to my memory, have we ever said that, well, these Wii games, we don't like them because they're ugly. The problem has been mostly that we don't like them because they're either A, shovelware, or B, not very much fun, with a few notable exceptions. My thing is that I'll take new and divergent gameplay wherever it comes from. I don't really care what platform it's on. That's part of owning all the consoles, is that I don't have to worry about those things. But at the same time, I could turn this sentiment around and say that Wii fans have some eternal hope that these Wii games are going to finally deliver some kind of brand new gameplay because they crammed lousy motion controls into every game instead of high-def graphics.
Ouch!
Let's be honest. You can totally, why do people like the Wii? Why does the average person who buys a Wii, the soccer moms and all this stuff, they like that you can use the motion controls. But most of us, I think, agree that when you play something like Red Steel, to go back to when the Wii launched, the motion controls sucked. So, but everybody.
Wait, but let me stop you there though. But I think the casual gamers like the motion controls because it's something that they can identify with, like swinging a tennis racket and on and on. I think hardcore gamers assume that it would redefine gameplay in a good way. Well, and I'm not saying that's not an unfair assumption. I agree.
Told us so.
Right, but I'm just saying there's a difference between what. I'm just saying there's a difference between what we expected versus what the casual gamers expected when you were just saying that. Like, that's something hardcore gamers brought to the table there, though.
Well, I stand by that sentiment. That it's the same principle. Dinging one group for wanting high-def graphics and thinking that's going to change gaming is not really any different than thinking just because I can swing or I can waggle my Wiimote around is going to change it either. So,
well, and to be fair, to follow up on that really quick, I think Nintendo is just as guilty as anyone because they made quite a lot of noise before the Wii launched about how revolutionary it was going to be and how incredible, these motion controls are going to be. It's not that hardcore gamers assumed. We may have inferred, but if we inferred, it was because we were led to do so. It's not like we just sat around and all kind of instant messaged each other over the internet and said, oh yeah, motion controls, they've got to be something hot. Like Nintendo was preaching it from the rooftops. So I don't think you can really fault anyone for expecting more than what was delivered.
Very good point. And then, for me, as far as the whole argument about sequels go, look, I'm not giving anyone a free pass on churning out sequels, but the thing of it is that's the gaming environment we live in now. That nobody wants to take big risks on new IPs with the economy, and they didn't want to in general anyway. So it's easier. It's the same thing with movies, except now movies are remakes instead of sequels. You're going to take the thing that already has name recognition and audience and things like that. The issue as far as Mario Galaxy goes and with Nintendo is that, look, there's no denying that Mario, Metroid, Zelda, Smash Brothers, these are legendary IPs. They've been with us for a very long time. I think we all love them. I know I love each of them Smash Brothers a little less than the other three. But the problem with the Nintendo and not being so excited about something like Galaxy 2 is that Nintendo seems like this is all they have now. They've got Mario, Metroid, Zelda, and Smash Brothers, and to keep trying to keep the core gamers engaged, we get these new sequels to these games very rapidly now. It seems like there's a lot shorter turnaround time than there used to be. I know there was a much longer time between Mario 64 and Mario Sunshine and Mario Sunshine to Mario Galaxy. So to get another Mario Galaxy so fast feels kind of like it almost cheapens Mario to me. Like, well, now he's our product. Reggie's sitting there saying we need a game,
Right.
a big sequel for this year, and Zelda's not up yet. This is Mario, so they're rotating, and it takes a little bit of the magic out of it for me. And,
they normally don't do the Galaxy 2 thing either. I mean, usually it's like a whole nother Mario.
It's a totally new game, right? So, and look, I thought Mario Galaxy is a great game. It's one of those games that's like, well, this almost justifies owning a Wii, even though I don't play much on it, but I got the opportunity to play Mario Galaxy. The thing is, though, is that I want to know is why isn't Nintendo working to bring some of the stuff that's doing so well on the DS into the Wii fold? I mean, the problem is that they've got these 4 franchises that they have, and then they've got other things that have done very well on the DS that could certainly be blown up into a console experience. So I don't always understand their reasoning. So
there is a sense that the latest sequels to these games, going outside of those those 3 or 4 core franchises, but if you go into Mario Kart, if you go into Smash Brothers, if you go into Animal Crossing, really for the first time, these are sequels that are incredibly derivative of their source material. They have not changed very much at all. They've added some motion controls, a little bit of online play, but really, I mean, has Mario Kart changed that much? I mean, we already have basically a perfect version of it on the DS, and they're not really pushing these franchises very hard. We had a quote from Jim Wood, who also commenting on the E3 episode. He said, quote, "I don't understand the hate on Galaxy 2 while Assassin's Creed 2 is so anticipated. Why wouldn't you want more of a game that was near perfection instead of more of a game that was flawed? Plus, how can Galaxy 2 be a cash-in when the period between the two games is longer than the period between Assassin's Creed games?" I'm not sure we ever used the words cash-in, but, for me, because I was the one who was talking about Assassin's Creed was a colossally flawed game with the potential of brilliance. And the developers of that game have said, all the crap you hated, we've pulled out. It's out. It's done. We know everything you despised about it. We've thrown it out, and we've added a bunch of cool new stuff. And now we may have the perfect game. Whereas with Galaxy, I already have the perfect game sitting on my shelf. So while will certainly buy Mario Galaxy 2, I am naturally less excited about it because I already have a perfect Mario game. Here is something I don't have, something that could be potentially new and exciting and fresh, and that's why I was so excited about Assassin's Creed. I'm not anti-Galaxy 2. I'm just not as excited for it. But
yeah,
both games
I
will
totally
get my money.
agree with that, Tim. I totally agree with everything you said. I mean, the whole reason that we expressed so much enthusiasm for certain other titles and franchises as opposed to some of the Nintendo stuff was, like you said, some of that Nintendo stuff, it wasn't bad in the first place. And if it's already good, then do we really need another one? I mean, it's just more levels and such. Like Galaxy 2, I mean, like you said, Galaxy 1 was phenomenal. It was a good game. It was a great game. I love it. I mean, everybody I know loves it. But Galaxy 2, I mean, it's not really something that I was really wanting because I feel like I kind of got the complete experience the first time around. Whereas, like you said, exactly with Assassin's Creed, if anybody goes back to our archives at the site, you will see that I gave Assassin's Creed one of the lowest scores on the entire internet. Right. I hated Assassin's Creed. I hated Assassin's Creed. I had nothing but bad things to say about it. But I do think that it has a lot of potential. It has monstrous potential. And like Tim was saying, if the developers are really paying attention and they really have taken out everything that was so bad, maybe Assassin's Creed 2 will be the game that everyone assumed Assassin's Creed 1 would be, the game that everybody was so hyped for, myself included. So that improvement, that realization of missed potential is, I think, what we were excited for, and it wasn't just that we were hating on Galaxy 2 just because we're hating on it.
Yeah.
It's really comparing apples to oranges. It's a completely different thing.
Yeah. One more spin-off comment from Vince's original statement here. This comes from a user Anonymous. We want to thank Anonymous for identifying himself. This is a comment.
He writes in all the time too. He's a real frequent poster.
He is. He's prolific.
Right.
He's prolific. This is actually about our episode last week in regards to the graphics in the Conduit, but since Vince mentioned graphics as well, I thought this was a good point to bring up. He says, why, this is Anonymous talking, why all the hate for the Conduit? PS2 level graphics? Are you just trying to be harsh for the sake of being harsh, or are you critically looking at the graphics on that console and being fair? Chi, I think you made the PS2 level graphics comment. But the reality is about HD, as Mike said, it's the elephant in the room, and the reality is once you've seen HD, you can't unsee it. It is
right.
It is objectively, quantifiably better than standard definition. Now that's not to say though that gameplay is dependent on HD. I don't think we've ever made that connection before. I have plenty of Wii games that I've enjoyed. The Williams Pinball Collection, Super Mario Galaxy, where the graphics, they're in standard definition, but they're perfectly fine and even quite lovely at times. But I don't think we've ever said that makes the gameplay bad.
Right. I mean, and more specific to his comment about the PS2 level graphics. I mean, I think it's widely, universally accepted at this point that the Wii is not a graphics powerhouse. So really, it's not. This is no big surprise here. And in fact, and unfortunately, when the developers come out and say that this is going to compete with HD level graphics, sorry, I'm going to have to call a spade here. It didn't measure up, and that's all I said. And in fact, as I said on the podcast, they shouldn't have tried to be a Halo clone. They shouldn't have tried to make it about the graphics. If they had just avoided that and, taken a Mad World approach to it or something, a little bit different, then I wouldn't have complained about it. So I just don't. That's just how I'm going to look at that.
All right. Well,
something else that has to be said. I mean, I know we want to move on here, but I just got to say this quickly. I agree that we have never really dinged Wii games for being graphically weak. I mean, even though it's true. But we don't really, as a site, harp on graphics very much. But, on the flip side of that, Nintendo is way behind the curve in terms of graphics. And I'm sorry, but this hobby is called video games. I mean, that's like a huge part of the equation. Now, I'm all about gameplay and I'm all about innovation. But, you'd be stupid to say that graphics don't play any kind of part. I mean, it may not be the most important part, but it's a part. And if people are going to sit there and say, well, you can't harp on the graphics, well, that's tough shit, because Nintendo knows they are so far behind the curve when it comes to visuals. They can't do anything but take hits for that. I mean, I think if anything, we've been extremely lenient on them in terms of graphics. But I mean, the fact is, like she said, you got to call a spade a spade. You can't say that these graphics are great. I mean, you can't even say that they're really all that good sometimes. I mean, it's just a weak machine. And in the hobby of video games, that's kind of a negative to have.
All right. Next comment. This comes from Dean. This is in regards to our rapidly approaching senior citizenship. He says,
"Oh man."
He says, quote, "I think the best comment in your podcast was that you're outgrowing the 18 to 34 demographic. How much longer are you guys going to be into gaming as a hobby? If you hate where it's going and you don't care what value things have to people unlike yourselves." End quote.
I thought this was a really interesting comment until the end, where it kind of totally goes off track. I'm not sure why I'm supposed to care what value something has to people unlike myself. I'm me. I'm concerned with the value of things to me. I'm not here as a spokesperson for anyone other than me. I'm not even here as a spokesperson for GameCritics.com particularly. I'm here. We could put a preface before I speak every time that these opinions expressed are solely Mike Bracken's, and that if that would clarify it. But to me, this is maybe the greatest problem with the whole field of games writing at this point. This asinine assumption that I'm supposed to consider everything in context to the rest of the universe and without any kind of personal bias. Critics and commentators are not omniscient, and it's never been our job to be that. We take things and evaluate them based on our own perceptions, and expecting any of us to think about how people unlike ourselves feel about things, aside from the standard, some people will like this even though I don't, is it's mind-boggling to me. If this is how the industry is going to go, then every podcast and review from here on out can just basically say, product X wasn't for me, but if you're into platforming, first-person shooters, or rape simulators, it'll be right up your alley and end.
That sounds like every EGM review written, actually.
Yeah. So as for the rest, I don't remember saying that I hate where gaming is going. I'm not a fan of everyone rushing out to add motion controls to their games because I still think it feels very gimmicky to me. There are things in gaming that I find problematic. Motion controls, the sequels that are everywhere, the price of new games, the concept of digital downloads. But to infer that being genuinely concerned about some of the directions the industry is moving is like it's a big leap to, because I'm concerned about it, to then making the jump to I hate the direction of entire subculture. I mean, wow, that's a lot of inferring.
So, Mike, let me ask you this: what general trends do you see that you're genuinely thrilled about, that you have a real positive energy towards?
Well, I'm still thrilled about games. I may not like the fact that everything is a sequel, but whenever something new or a new IP comes out that really, sort of blows our doors off, that's still exciting for me. I'm a simple guy. I mean, honestly, we're supposed to be critical because that's part of the job, but at the end of the day, I still like playing. I love the direction that the DS has gone. Which is funny because I will be more than willing to admit that when the DS was first announced, I was one of those people who thought this is a really dumb idea. But I think that that's done. They've done a really great job with that, and that's a Nintendo product that I'm not hating on. So you can't say I hate everything Nintendo. But I like. I don't play a lot of Xbox Live, but I like the idea that if I want to, I can. That the fact that I no longer have to have someone sitting on my couch to play a game with them, or that I can download demos of things, or all that stuff. So I'm definitely really excited about the way a lot of gaming is moving, but at the same time, I'm not a cheerleader for the industry. I applaud them when they get things right, in my opinion, but at the same time, I'm not going to not call them on things when I think they're moving in a direction that's maybe not the way to go. So,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go.
I was going to say, Chi or Brad, same question, because I think this is important. I think we do need. I think we need to be positive. I think we need to get away from just the general idea of hate, and let's talk about things we're excited about. What is a unique trend? Or a unique.
This is easy, man. There's tons of stuff to get excited about, and I certainly want to reemphasize what Mike said. And just because that we may chronologically be leaving the 18 to 34 demographic, which is actually true, it doesn't mean at all that we are like somehow going to just stop gaming, or that we feel like we're just becoming disaffected from gaming. I mean, that's not true in the least. I mean, first of all, because I don't think Nintendo is representative of gaming in general anymore. But I mean, besides that, there's tons of stuff to like. I mean, I'm totally all about the growing presence of indie games thanks to the download services. You have PS Network, WiiWare, which I actually think is pretty good, and Xbox Live Arcade, as well as Xbox Live Community of which I'm especially a big fan of. I mean, this was stuff that you had to be on PC to take part in even just a couple years ago, and now that console gamers have been exposed to it, I mean, I couldn't be happier. I love paying $5 or $10 for a game that takes me, 2, 3, 5, 10 hours, and it's just really small, really interesting, really innovative. I mean, I'm all about the growing indie scene and the small game scene, especially since with the economy and the way that retail is going, you can't get these games anymore. Nobody's making these games anymore because they can't take the risk that's associated with putting something out at retail. Another thing I'm really, really excited for is the growing realization that gamers really want story and they want character, and that is becoming more of a factor in certain games. I mean, primarily it's being spearheaded by BioWare, but there are other developers as well who are finally waking up to the fact that, hey, people really like to be able to dig into their games, to sink their teeth into it, and now that they're getting more of a human element, more choice, more actual role-playing going on thanks to a lot of the more advanced technology, there's real leaps and bounds being made there. So, I mean, those are just two things off the top of my head that I'm thrilled for. I mean, I'm still totally into gaming. I love gaming. I'm never going to be out of gaming. I mean, gaming would have to be so completely, like, transformed. I mean, it would have to be, like, nothing but, like, you know, Barbie's Horse Ranch games or something before I would even remotely consider stopping gaming. So we may be leaving the demographic, but we're not leaving gaming at all.
Well, and the demographic is I think not so much an issue because gamers, a lot of us are in that at the upper end of that demographic now anyway. So as we keep aging, I think the developers are going to keep making games with us in mind still. I don't think that just because we're older than 34 that suddenly...
Well, isn't the age of the average...
Wait.
I was just going to say, isn't the age of the average gamer like 33? I mean,
yeah, it's something crazy higher than everybody thinks it is.
Gee, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I had a whole thing about the whole demographic issue, but let me first just say that I'm excited about anything in video games that pushes the envelope of, you know, and of what we have today, and anything that's just innovative, you know. So that's just a general thing, like Brad says. I'm just excited about anything that does that. But I think what's interesting about the whole demographic content, it highlights how narrow-minded gamers are about what video games are as a whole. I mean, if you think about this for a second, and actually, we actually have to credit the Wii for this. It's really diversified what gaming is right now, or what we consider to be gaming. And I had a conversation with a coworker about this, and he was saying how, and he's like a big Wii fan as well, which is interesting enough. And his name is Epen, if he's listening to this, so he gets credit for this comment. He was talking about how, because he's an opera singer, and he's into, you know, and there's just so much diversity in music. You know, you have your bubblegum pop, you know, you have your classical, you have all this other stuff, and you know, that's just the way it is. You know, and I think we're not so much offended by the other thing, but we have to start being able to accept the fact that there's all different kinds of games out there, and we're just going to talk about this sort of type of game, or I don't know if it's called, you know, if it's a genre or whatever, but you know, like certain film critics are just not going to like spend a lot of time talking about, you know, High School Musical or whatever. You know, they're going to be more interested in the Oscar award-winning films and things like that, and it's going to be the same thing for video games. I think, we just need to stop complaining less about the other stuff and just really talk about what we really care about and just leave it at that, I think.
That's a really good point, Chi. I totally agree with that. I mean, I think part of the reason why people would want to even listen to us talk in the first place is because we're so knowledgeable. But even the most knowledgeable critic at our site or anywhere can only have a certain amount of knowledge. I mean, we can't play every single game out there, and with the the growing audience of games, I mean, it's like you said. I mean, it's becoming more diverse all the time. I mean, people can spend an entire lifetime trying to learn everything there is to know about jazz, but that still means they're ignoring rock and hip hop and classical and everything else. So
right.
Yeah, I mean, that's very.
And the problem is the industry just doesn't see it any other way, because and it was especially true of the last E3, which really highlighted the problem, because all these games just sort of fell under the same umbrella of electronic entertainment. And it's not like, when you go to the Sundance Film Festival, you're not going to get like Transformers 2 at Sundance Film Festival. You know what I mean? So it's just different audiences, and different tastes, really.
Well, I was disappointed to see all three of the major players, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, all using the terms casual and hardcore, as if they're creating and propagating that division. And I hate dividing things like that. It's a bother to me. But what I'm excited about, the general trend that I'm most thrilled to see in gaming, cannibalism. All right, let's move on.
I just wanted to add that Brad and Chi may be indeed very knowledgeable. I, on the other hand, am a moron. So
there we go. I think we have a couple comments to that effect, Mike. So we'll get.
I'm
there.
sure we do.
We'll get there. All right. Next quote here. This comes from Hargrada, another frequent show contributor. We love when Hargrada sends us stuff. It's always great. This was specifically in regards to our venom towards upcoming Wii games, and I think maybe we've touched on a lot of this already, but he says, quote, "The biggest problem I had with the talk about the Wii at the end of the podcast is that the whole thing comes off as another angry diatribe of hardcore gamers," there's that term again, "desperately trying to discredit the system, usually using the usual tired arguments, such as low attach rates, Wii bubble burst, completely different markets, the kind of stuff that I've heard and read everywhere on the net since the console was released 2 years ago. I just don't understand the anger and venom people seem to have whenever Nintendo comes up in conversation."
Yeah, before I get started, I do want to give props to Hargrada. He's a great guy. I know for a fact that he's listening. He always has really insightful comments. So thanks again for sending in your comments, Hargrada. I'll buy you a cup of coffee at PAX this year. But yes, in terms of the actual comment itself, I don't think we're really trying to discredit the Wii. I mean, we don't really have any reason to even do that. I mean, when we come on this podcast, we talk about stuff that we want to talk about. We talk about what's going on in the industry, the latest games, whatever has caught our fancy that particular week. I mean, we don't really sit around and think, oh, I'm really pissed at Nintendo, or oh, Reggie killed my dog. I mean, we don't care. I mean, we'll talk about the Wii because number one, I mean, everybody talks about the Wii to start with, and it's hot. I mean, you can't talk about games and not talk about the Wii right now. But of course, we're going to put our own personal spin. I mean, like Mike said, I mean, we're all here representing ourselves. I mean, we're not trying to be arbitrary or very neutral. I mean, we're here speaking as individuals. So, of course, we're going to say what we think, and due to our age and where our backgrounds have brought us through, I mean, the kinds of games we played, I mean, everything like that, I mean, it's just the fact that we kind of are, not really in love with the Wii right now. So we're not trying to discredit it. I mean, nothing we could say or do would ever stop the phenomenal success Nintendo has had. The fact is just, we just don't like it. So that's kind of why we seem so negative.
And I would add that there's for me personally, when it comes to talking about the Wii and this stuff, there's a little bit of frustration involved. I've got this thing. It's basically a $250 paperweight in my entertainment center. I own literally almost 800 games. I own less than 10 for my Wii, and it's not because I don't want to play the Wii. It's because I can't find anything on it to play most of the time. So, and for me as well, it's a case of, I know I'm going to be 37 this year. I'm old enough to remember when the first time I saw a Nintendo when I was, I must have been 12. Back in like 84 or 85, when, somewhere back then. And I think for those of us who were around for the glory days of the NES and then the Super Nintendo, looking at Nintendo now, they're still Nintendo, but they don't really feel like the same Nintendo we grew up with. There's a ton of nostalgia there for me for what Nintendo used to be, and I just saw a lot of times now I feel like Nintendo is not the same company they were, and that's fine on one level, but at the same time, it's like I'm a nostalgic guy, and I like things to be the way they were when they were good, and I just don't ever get the vibe that the Wii is like the Nintendo I grew up loving. So,
and to be fair to Nintendo, if you look at the history of Nintendo, the Nintendo that we're seeing today is the company that they've always wanted to be. They've always tried to put these gimmicks out there. So yeah, it's unfortunately you're bringing your perception of what your memories of Nintendo are versus what they are trying to become as a company. It's an interesting dynamic, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of respect for Nintendo. I really am impressed that they were courageous enough to see that, well, maybe not courageous enough, maybe it was a financial need, that a 3-console war cannot be won by all 3 participants. And they were the ones who took the step to say, you know what? We're going to hit the reset button. We're going to do something different. We're going to simplify. We're going to try to take this mainstream, and they were phenomenally successful about it. And so I have a lot of respect for them. But like you said, it's just not the types of games I want to spend the few gaming hours I have available playing. That's not to say I don't. I know you and we've been doing the EA Sports Active, which you probably can't even call a game, but I think we've both really been enjoying that. So
and yet my entire life schedule revolves around using this thing. So yeah.
I have to admit I've been slacking a bit. I turned it on the other day, and you know how there's a Bob Green. He's Oprah's personal trainer. He does videos, so every time you do something good in EA Sports Active, he comes on, he tells you how great you're doing. I took like 2 weeks off, and I turned it on yesterday, and it's a video of Bob Green. He's in like this stone, looks like a dungeon, and he's just in a corner smoking a cigarette. And the video comes on, and he says, "Where have you been, you bastard?" And then the Wii resets.
All right, tell the truth. That's not exactly.
No, that's exactly what it does. And I haven't been able to start the game up since then. Anyway, let's move on to the next comment. This one comes from... I'm sorry. It's that Trader Joe's beer. This comes from Cuddles. And Cuddles just has a general comment about our hatred of everything, not just Nintendo. He says, "Wow," or quote, "Wow, I'm the most cynical gamer I know. And even I found the negativity in this podcast too unbearable to finish. I don't know any other site that managed to see so much to vent about over what was easily the best E3 in years. The Nintendo whining was over the top. Nintendo was abandoning the hardcore who put them there? Was that meant to be a joke? Sorry, guys, but podcasts where a bunch of nerds sit around and talk about games are a dime a dozen, and most of them seem to be by people who actually enjoy their hobby and aren't old and cranky." Brad, that was your quote. Nintendo is abandoning the hardcore who put them there. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Wait, yeah, before Brad starts, can I just say one thing first of all? Nintendo is abandoning the hardcore. That's just a fact at this point. Okay, Brad, go ahead, go.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of, I don't even really know what to say because, well, first of all, we had a lot of things to say about E3, and by far most of it was positive. I think all of us who were watching the coverage, we were really excited. I mean, I've been to E3 several times, and I was really disappointed at the downturn it took. So I was, more than anything, thrilled to see E3 kind of come back to its former glory. I mean, yeah, we had some negative things to say about Nintendo, but I think it was things that were warranted. It's not like we went out of our way to whine. But anyway, I mean, more to the point of this specific comment, it kind of relates back to what she said about Nintendo being the company that they've always wanted to be, and some of the other things we've said so far in the show. It's that really when you get down to it, Nintendo had to redefine the game. They knew that they were probably not going to come in first this generation. They had a brilliant strategy, which was to, change what their objectives were. They knew they probably weren't going to be in the lead with Sony and Microsoft, both hot on their heels. And they were brilliant in changing what the game meant to them. However, in them doing that, it meant that they left behind everybody who used to be in their camp. I mean, Nintendo doesn't have a responsibility to the gamers who grew up with Nintendo. I mean, Nintendo's a company. They're about profit. It's not like we're related by blood. We're not friends. I mean, they're a company. They're
just go for a beer together.
Yeah, we don't meet after work. They don't come over to my house. I mean, nothing like that. So
wait, but I'm following Nintendo on Twitter, aren't I? That's not a person.
Well, that's I haven't followed them yet, so maybe that puts a new spin on it. But they don't have responsibility to us. What they have is a responsibility to themselves to earn profit. And in order for them to do that this generation, they needed to transform who and what they were. So from a business perspective, I applaud them. I mean, I think they're fucking genius. Total genius for doing what they did because obviously, I mean, they told everybody else to basically put a sock in it and they went ahead and started making money again. I mean, these people are brilliant because they make money hand over fist every fucking generation, never fails, and if something doesn't make a profit for them, they stop. I mean, there's like a lot of businesses here in the States that could take a lesson. But the downside of this reality is that people who, like Mike said, have nostalgia for Nintendo, who grew up with an NES or SNES, people who really Nintendo was like the equivalent of gaming. I mean, I can remember back in the day when somebody said Nintendo, like, I want to go play Nintendo, like, they didn't say, I want to play games or I want to go to the arcade. It's like, we want to play Nintendo. Everybody, like, Nintendo was synonymous with gaming. Nintendo is and was gaming. So now that it's not anymore, people who have those memories or who came up that way, we feel really disaffected. We feel like we got left behind. We feel like, hey, where is the company that taught us how to game? Where is the company that we grew up loving? It's like they go after the profit, which is what they need to do. And I think that we as gamers just need to be okay with that, because if we keep trying to hang on to the old Nintendo that's no longer there, we're just going to keep on being bitter and disappointed, which is pretty much where we are right now. But I mean, the reality is they've moved on, and I think maybe we need to move on. And in that respect, if we decide to bag on Nintendo once in a while, well, I think we've got a fucking right to. I mean, not only because they're not about what gaming is anymore, but also because we just don't like what they're doing. And if they're going to be in the industry, and we're in the industry, and we talk about what we like, Nintendo's not going to be it.
Okay,
so.
I think that's why people get mad, though. I think that's why people are mad at us, is the statement that Nintendo is not about gaming. Haven't they redefined what gaming is? Haven't they expanded the definition? I mean, to say that the...
Okay, yes, okay. You know what? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I'm really glad you said that, Tim. Let me take that back before we get the hate mail, because now that you've said that, I can just see, wow, I didn't make that statement clear enough.
Okay.
So let me quantify that. Nintendo is no longer about gaming in the sense that we think of gaming, and by we, I mean people who grew up with Nintendo, the quote-unquote hardcore gamers, us cranky senior citizens, the 33 to 40 demographic, whatever it is, people who are the hardcore. Nintendo does not represent us anymore. So that is who I'm talking about. I mean, I don't mean to say that people who are casual only are not gamers, because they are. I'm not saying that my mother-in-law, who has never played a game in her life and who owns Wii Fit, is not a gamer, because she is a kind of gamer. But I think that now we need to maybe open up to different definitions of what a gamer is. And in my statement, I'm talking about people like us who play games a lot and who are fairly, quote-unquote hardcore, for lack of a better term. And, we know who we're talking about, and I think everybody else knows who we're talking about. Yeah. So that's who I'm referring to. Did that make any sense whatsoever?
Absolutely. Okay. I think that's a critical clarification, and I don't think you have explained it that well on the show before. So I think that's going to be very satisfying for people.
Well, apologies if I was not clear, but that's exactly what I'm saying. So go back to listen to all those podcasts, and when you hear my foot and mouth statements, just imagine me making that clarification, and then it'll all be good.
Wow, we're so fucking congenial tonight. I can't believe it. It's amazing. I just wanted to echo Brad's sentiment about E3. The idea of crowing about this show being the best E3 in years is basically pointless. This for sure was better than the year before, when the convention center was mostly empty, and it was definitely better than the year before that, where everybody had to go to a fucking hotel room to see games. But I don't know if I'd be bragging about this being the best E3 ever, because it beat those two shitty shows that came 2 years before it. I can think of better E3s in recent years past than this year in terms of announcements and games and stuff we saw like that. But I find these comments are fascinating to me, because it's interesting to see how people react to the things we say in comparison to how we felt we were when we said them. Yeah, we had some negative things to say. We always have some negative things to say. It's just part of who we are as a podcast. And but I guess that the negative gets focused on more than the fact that we spent what seemed like an hour talking about games we were excited about and why we were excited about them. But then it just seems sometimes like you're not allowed to have an opinion that might offend someone anymore, which bugs me a lot. And last but not least, I love the fact that Cuddles mentions that podcasts where nerds sitting around talking about games are a dime a dozen, but then he follows it up with the contradictory, and most of them seem to be by people who actually enjoy their hobby and aren't old and cranky. So are we a dime a dozen podcast because we're nerds sitting around talking about games, or doesn't the fact that we're old and cranky somehow make us different? You can't have your cake and eat it too there. I think our bitterness makes us unique. It's part of what we bring to the table. May not be for everyone, but it's who we are. And I thank Cuddles for his support, and I dedicate this show to him, our new #1 fan.
But wait, I gotta just say though, The only thing nerdier than a bunch of nerds sitting around and talking about games are nerds who sit around and listen to nerds talking about games.
And then write in about nerds talking about
people
games.
who actually write in about nerds are even nerdier than the nerds who are making the comments. Yeah.
And I love you nerds for writing in. My fellow nerdlings. I love you all, even Cuddles. That's why I'm dedicating this show to him.
I think that's an important point, that we do appreciate every single listener that we have. Because if we lose even one, that's generally a good 20% of our audience. So
I was gonna guess it was 50.
Yeah,
but I thought we had Vince and Hargrada, and I thought that was it.
So we're talking about the podcast. Let me
because I don't listen to our show.
Let me ask this: do you think the podcast would be strengthened by having another person on the show who is a major Wii fan, who you might call a more casual gamer, who enjoys Wii Sports, who wouldn't know what to do if you handed them Bionic Commando on the Xbox? Do you think that a dissenting voice would be valuable?
I mean, I don't know why that's necessary, Tim. Because as you just said, we both play, EA Sports Active. It's not like we're not using the Wii, so there's different perspectives here. I mean, ultimately, we're a podcast about video games. And again, I'm missing the word here because, like I said, we need to expand this dialogue here in terms of what kind of video games are we forwarding. And I want to say more progressive, artful video games. And don't hate on me for using the art word there.
No.
Yeah. Well, also, I mean, I would add that none of us here hate fun. I mean, we're all big fans of fun. We love having fun. I mean, I know I do. I'm pretty sure you guys do too. And when a game is fun, we're gonna give it props no matter what it looks like or what system it's on. I mean, that's the benefit of us all having all the systems and being able to play all these different games and to talk about things. But I think the fact remains, we are a certain kind of podcast. Our site is a certain kind of site. I mean, we are who we are. And a lot of us have like more than 20, 25 years of experience apiece in the industry. So if you want to come and listen to people who have been in gaming for that long, I mean, of course, our take is going to be different than, whatever Susie Barbie fan who just picked up a Wii last year. I mean, not that she doesn't have a valid opinion, but maybe it doesn't really fit with like who we are as a site and as a podcast. So I mean, that's kind of, I mean, would it help? I mean, would it help? I don't know. I mean, are people who want that kind of attitude even listening to us in the first place? I mean, out of the 3 people that we know listen, I don't think any of them really care. So
I don't think we'll be expanding our audience by covering Grey's Anatomy, the video game.
No.
So if we accept that Nintendo is who it is, that the new Nintendo is here to stay, is there anything from a practical standpoint that we would like to see Nintendo do in terms of the types of the types of peripherals it's putting out, the types of games it's putting out, the capabilities of the system, what we would want to see from the next Nintendo console? I guess, what do we want to see Nintendo do in the next 5 years that might make us more likely to embrace it?
There's a lot of things.
For me, right off the bat, I'd like them to stop trying to pretend that they're still for the hardcore gamers. I mean, they should, like, in Japan, they have a Space World show, right? Different from the Tokyo Game Show. They should set up their own show. Unfortunately, E3 is not helping this because I don't blame them for being a part of the biggest, game show industry trade show that we have. But at the same time, I think it would help if they started just marketing to who they really are and stop trying to throw us hardcore gamers a bone every time, they say they're going to release a sequel to Animal Crossing or to Metroid or to whatever. I mean, let's just call it what it is.
I don't even care about that anymore, to be honest with you. I would just like to see them whenever they do their next console. Motion control is going to be part of it. We pretty much assume that. I would like to see them, though, step up and say, okay, HD does exist. We maybe should get on board with that. Maybe we should lose the whole stupid friend code thing and stop making it so goddamn difficult to play anything online with other people. Make a system that's actually able to connect to the internet in the way that everything else is. And I would like to see them get a little more, I don't know if adventurous is the word. I'd like to see them exercise some more quality control over the amount of shovelware that they allow to come out on their system. I know they're not personally responsible for making those games, but at the same time, maybe once in a while step up and say, okay, this game is shit. You're making a shit game, and we don't want all these shit games on our console, basically. And ideally, they would start to, maybe get some synergy going between the Wii and the DS, and not like that stupid connectivity thing they had between the Game Boy Advance and the GameCube. But like with these popular titles on the DS, something like, Professor Layton or something like that, bring those up from the DS and bring them to the Wii. You have more potential franchises than just Mario and Mario Kart and Animal Crossing and Metroid. Start bringing some of these things up. I love my DS. I absolutely play it. I play it constantly. It to me is like a portable Super Nintendo, like to the factor of 5, because you get 2 screens and you can do touchscreen stuff with it. So there's great stuff that they're doing in the handheld market. They just need to bring some of that up, and I think a lot of us would be more on board with the Wii if they were had the same quality of games that the DS has. But that's just me.
Well, to go along with that, Mike. I mean, so the question is, what would we like to see Nintendo do in the next console? I don't fucking care, honestly. I mean, I don't think that Nintendo cares about me, therefore I don't really care about Nintendo. They're going to do what they're going to do. I mean, they're going to take care of their bottom line. What?
You're harsh.
Well, I mean, seriously, what is the point of getting stressed out about it? Because they're not after my dollar, really, and I'm not really, going out of my way to be a Nintendo loyalist. I mean, I have the 360, which I love, which totally talks to me and where I'm at in my gaming career. I mean, the PS3, they're making a couple of stupid mistakes, but they still have some good games, not a ton, but there's some. But I mean, my needs are basically taken care of. I mean, I don't need 3 consoles. I don't need Nintendo to be a gamer, and if they want to court me as a gamer, that's great. I mean, all they need to do is make some games that are good. Kind of like you said, Mike. I was at GameStop the other day and I looked at the Nintendo shelf, and it's like, my wife is really proud when we go out because she can pick any game out of anywhere in the store except the Wii section and say, honey, is this game good? And I can say yes or no because I know about it. You go to the Wii section, I couldn't tell you squat about at least half, if not 3/4 of the games up there. You can't find reviews for them online. I was on WiiWare this afternoon trying to catch up with what's going on with WiiWare because I'm all about the smaller download titles. I didn't recognize the majority of titles. I had no information whatsoever. And it's like, you don't need to do anything for me. Nintendo can be who they want to be. I mean, they can do motion. They can do, they can make their next console like another, Wii HD. I mean, they can do whatever. But if they want me, which I'm not convinced that they do, all they need to do is start having good games. And looking at the amount of shovelware that's out for, WiiWare and the Wii specifically, they don't give a fuck about good games right now. I mean, the amount of good quality games out for the Wii is pathetically small. It's infinitesimally small. So that's all I have to say. Make some good games. I will be there. You don't have good games. I'm just whatever. I have nothing to do for
you. I'm sorry. I was just going to say, restore some meaning to the Nintendo seal of quality.
Yeah.
Does that even exist anymore?
Boy, that thing.
I don't even think it's there anymore.
It is. It's not the seal of quality. It's just the Nintendo seal. They just
in someone has paid us licensing.
There
fees,
you go.
So
yeah.
All right.
The check is cashed and cleared.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's like I said, we're gonna keep whining about it so long as they keep putting it in our face and try to convince us or convince the industry or gamers at large that they're still a part of this industry. And that's what I'm saying. So long as they shut the hell up, I think we'll be all good.
Yeah. Something else I really wanted to bring up really quickly too was like getting back to kind of the demographic. I mean, I hate to say that word again, but since we're all older and since we've kind of been around since gaming's began, I mean, I think we're kind of at the forefront of the people who want to see gaming as a whole develop. I mean, there are a lot of developers out there who are our same age, who grew up with the same games that we do, and who want to push games forward. It's been said before, we're getting older, we want, and theoretically more mature, we want our games to be getting more mature with us. And so I think, just as a site and as critics ourselves, I think all of us kind of lean that way. Like, we were really interested in seeing where the industry can go, what new ground can we cover, where can we take this. I mean, it's like the vanguard filmmakers, it's like people who were at the cutting edge of novels a while ago, like in the 50s and 60s. I mean, we want to push it forward. We're not so much about the novelty. We're not so much about catering to the newcomers. I mean, we love them and we need them, but that's not really what we talk about. So if we do seem negative on Nintendo or the Wii, I mean, I think it's because the Wii is in a different place than where we are right now. I mean, simple as that.
I think the one thing, well, I hate to be superficial. I would love to see an HD version of a Nintendo console. I have an expensive HD TV. I'd like to take advantage of it, and I don't care if that sounds superficial. I'm sorry.
It's not going to make a difference to him. That's the thing. That's what I was going to say to Mike before. Yeah. What difference is Wii Sports in HD, really?
But for their next console, that's what I'm saying. That they'll make games that take advantage of the fact that it's in HD. It fixes nothing for now.
But that's my point, Mike. Even if it is in HD, they're not going to take advantage of the fact that they are in HD. You're assuming that they will, but just look at the history. They're not going to.
I mean, they're capable of making pretty games. I'd like to think that they would utilize HD if they build it into the system.
I think they're capable of making pretty games right now, but I don't think that's where their heads are at. They're more interested in creating the next Wii Fit than they are interested in creating the next, Zelda or a progressive version of Zelda, not the same Zelda that we played 10 times over now.
But imagine if you were playing EA Sports Active with like the Wii camera. Assume that there's going to have some kind of camera, and it takes a picture of you, and you could see Chi Kong Lu in high definition sweating right there on your screen. Wouldn't you want that? Yeah. I would want that.
Oh,
I'd be right there for that, honestly. Yeah, I would.
I think I would want that, but again, I don't think it's going to change what fundamentally Nintendo is right now, and that's my point.
Yeah. No.
Just because they put it in doesn't mean that they're going to be a different company. Unfortunately, what Mike is asking for, I don't think is going to happen. Is what is the bottom line for me.
No. I don't. I mean, I don't know. I would assume that at some point they're going to have to at least pretend to try to join us in the real world, where we all have HD televisions and we don't use friend codes to get online and find our friends. But maybe that's just me being really fucking optimistic. So.
No, and I think you're right that they eventually, when HD is like the norm, when the signal's already been shut off, right? So all TVs are HD. Yeah, the next version is going to be HD.
Digital.
It's going to be all digital, and so Wii Sports will look a little more crisper. That's what it's going to tantamount to.
I think the one thing, and we'll close on this. The one thing that I would like to see Nintendo not lose is they've really, I think, made a commitment to accessibility. And I know on this show we've called it dumbing down. I think last week we called it retarded. But there is something to be said about the Wiimote, and that I can hand it to anyone and they can figure it out within seconds. If I give the Xbox 360 controller to my mom, I might as well have just given her the dashboard to the space shuttle. But the Wiimote, and I've probably told this story on the show before, the very first video game and only video game she ever played in her entire life was Wii Bowling. And we played one afternoon, and she beat me. And there is literally no video game on the Xbox or on the PS3, or probably any other Wii game, well, maybe another Wii game, that she could have any shot at that. And granted, that's because the fidelity of the Wiimote is very limited. And granted, you can game the system. You can figure out how to cheat at Wii Bowling. Mike, I think you said on a previous show you can roll a 300 every time. But to be able to have that experience with somebody who had never touched a video game before, and for her to think that she has a shot at winning, and for her to actually be able to win, is something very special and something very unique to Nintendo. And I think that is something they need to retain. We Next Gen, we HD, whatever it is, needs to retain that simplicity. Simplicity doesn't mean bad. It doesn't necessarily mean retarded. It means they've opened the doors to more people. And I think that more than anything is what I'd like to see. Stay on. Well, let's cut it off there. And I guess, if we were saying we were on trial, are we innocent? Are we guilty? Are we a hung jury?
I'll say I think we're innocent, but I do think we could spend more time being a little more positive on certain things, so that way it doesn't. It will be more reflective of what we really think and feel.
What we haven't been reflecting what we think and feel.
I think we've been overly negative in that we're not reflecting. Like, for example, what you guys talked about, how you guys did think it was a generally good E3. I think that didn't come across as much as the more of the stuff that you guys were quote unquote whining about.
Well, do I need to get some fucking pom poms and be an industry cheerleader or what? I mean,
got enough of those, man.
Jesus Christ!
I'm not saying we need to be brown nosers or anything like that. I'm just saying in terms of the stuff that we are excited about, and perhaps that could be more balanced out between the stuff that we tend to criticize more. It seems like that part is more predominant.
The only ground I'm willing to give in that area is I'm willing to talk bad about other things too. If we've been extremely negative on Nintendo, then maybe we need to start focusing on some really shitty games for the Xbox or for the PS3, because we got to spread the hate. I'm all about spreading the hate. But I'm certainly not going to start, like Mike said, being a cheerleader. I mean, the whole internet is full. I mean, they're dripping with cheerleaders. Everywhere you go, you can't find an honest opinion. And if we have to be negative in order to be honest, well, then let's be negative. But maybe we can be negative about other things. I mean, I certainly don't mean to just pick on Nintendo only.
And I'll cheer for these things when they give me something to fucking cheer for.
All right.
That may be it right there.
I think it's. I think the jury is out. We will see. We will see what happens. Now, I can tell you, next week we're not going to be talking about any of this, because next week we have what I think is going to be the most special podcast we've ever done. Chi, this is kind of a big deal, wouldn't you say? Kind of a big event. Kind of a big event we're going to be celebrating, wouldn't you say?
You do know what he's talking about, right, Chi?
Yeah, I was going to say, it sounded like he was lost.
You're the one who told me about it, so I'm hoping that.
No, you're the hype man, Tim. I like to keep it real.
Oh, dude, you forgot. He forgot. Oh my god.
No, I know exactly what he's talking about. I'm just
sure.
July.
Yeah. When's your anniversary, G? When's your son? Huh? Yeah.
Sorry, let me look this up. No, it's June 6th.
July 2009 marks the 10th anniversary of the GameCritics.com website. And we're going to be having a special anniversary episode next week. We are bringing back all of your favorite game critics, some who have appeared on this show, some who have dreamt of appearing on the show, some who aren't even affiliated with the site anymore and have gone on to do amazing things. We're going to have them all back on the show. It's going to be a logistical nightmare, but it's going to turn out to be fantastic listening and a wonderful tribute to 10 years of Game Critics. And we'll save all the praise and navel-gazing for next week, but really excited about it. Can't wait to have people listen to it. And Chi, anything you're excited about in particular for that episode?
No, it's gonna be a fun ride trying to figure out how we're gonna handle all the guests for sure.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time, but it's gonna make for fantastic listening, or it'll be a disaster, one or the other.
And that'll be entertaining in its own way.
Exactly.
You got it. So
we'll be the John and Kate of podcasts.
Ooh,
yes.
Oh, not good.
Too soon.
Yeah, too soon.
Yeah, that's the sore spot. No, don't go there.
That wasn't a Michael Jackson reference.
Well, to close it out here, remember the GameCritics.com podcast is, and we've confirmed this, available from the Zune Marketplace and the iTunes Music Store. You can listen right off the GameCritics.com homepage, where you can also leave comments such as the ones we read this week. So for all of us, for Brad, for Chi, for Mike, I am Tim Spaeth. Thanks for listening. Keep the love alive and the hate flowing freely. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.